Good evening. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I am fantastic and amazing. How you doing, Joe?
I am doing fantastic and amazing. And guess what? I'm heading towards phenomenal, actually. I
That's
learned
what I like to hear.
I learned that from somebody.
Yep, that's the only way to go. Phenomenal.
All right. So welcome everyone. It appears as though people are in the room. There we go. So um anyway, welcome everybody. I'm thrilled to have this addition to the Breakfast Club. And let me just make a few announcements. One, Tuesdays at noon are no longer, until further notice. We may do one in the future like that, but we're not sure what's going to happen with the notices. It may send you a notice on Tuesday telling you that there is a webinar, and then when you click it on, it's going to tell you that it's been moved to Wednesday nights. So that's possible. You'll still get that on Tuesdays. We're working on that. But I say hello to a few people. Hi, Mary. Hi, Awad. How are you? Nice to hear from you, Awad. We can unlock microphones tonight. We'll do that at a certain time. Robert, hello, and Shirley, Cindy. There's a bunch of people on here saying hello. There are people that won't talk on here. That's fine. They're in the background. We're looking at a control room now so we can see who's actually here, which is pretty exciting for a late notice. Wally, how you doing, Wally? Andrea. All right, here's the the things we want to cover here. The reason for this Wednesday night call is to have more interaction. It's to help people. We have groups of people that work together after they've taken the communication class. Now, if you haven't taken that class, I'm just going to encourage you to do it. And you're going to hear from some people tonight, hopefully, that will tell you why. And one of them is going to be Mark. And while he's on the line, we're going to open up some microphones. But that's the only way that we can do it. And I'm hoping that you, have a headset, because without one, it tends to throw echoes out there. And we'll give it a try and see. Some people were unable to open their mics last time, so just do the best you can to open them. And so Mark and I, have been in this business a long time. We've been partners a long time. We've done things together. We do some things together, some things we do separately. And, this call is not specific to any one company, because some people here have a couple of companies that they are dealing with. And that's okay. I mean, as long as you're not cross-recruiting, contacting people on lists from one company to another, everything's fine. And the bottom line is, Mark and I both know this, and I know a number of you out there know that now that you've taken the classes, is that your communication skills just have to be, you have to hone in on these things. You've got to make sure that your language, the professional way in which you present yourself, reflects that in your language. When you're talking, that person on the other end is listening to you offer them something. And if it doesn't sound legitimate, you have troubles. That's part of the problem, is learning how to have the proper stance. And then it's learning how to have the proper language. So we have groups of people that after taking the class, over the years, people have gotten together. We've put little pockets of people together, sometimes 2, sometimes 4, most of the time just 4 at a time, where they communicate with one another. They have weekly calls. Some people, and there's a group on here now that have calls almost 3-4 times a week. And what they do is they role play. They come in and they say, okay, I'm going to be the prospect. You go ahead and be the affiliate, and then let's move that person over to a director, and somebody else plays the director role. And if it's 2 people, then they play both. Why is that critical? Because most people don't understand how to introduce a director. The director, in most cases, doesn't understand how to conduct themselves. And some people are good just on the fly. Some people just have been in this industry a long time, and they have a method of talking to people in that director call, that 3-way call. And some of it makes sense, and some people are very skilled at that, and they haven't had the class, but they have their own method of doing it. But my problem over the years has been that most of the people that do that have difficulty with really, projecting that professionalism and holding something in their hands and offering it to someone. Instead, what they're doing is almost begging that person to come with them. And it's tragic. I mean, because you don't know what's happening on the other end. So I'm not going to share any screen with you tonight, but we will next week. In fact, Robert LaRiviere will be with us next week to follow up on his education on the mindset. But part of this mindset has to be that you understand who you are and you present yourself. And in that presentation, it is that you have something for them, and maybe they qualify, maybe they don't. And let's face it, we don't always want the people that we bring into the company. You know that, into any company. We don't always want them. We find out later there really wasn't a match. So why don't we conduct ourselves in the beginning as to identify whether or not we really have that match? And is this person really right? Signing a person up means nothing to me. It means nothing to me if you don't have the right person. And as you know, by seeing the inactivity in your companies, that we probably selected the wrong people to work with us, because what we did is follow an old networking rule that said, hey, throw as many people in and see what happens. And I know we disagree with that. So this class that has just been redone, and when I say redone, it's not new slides. There's new notes, there's some added information, but the basics are the same. The building blocks to communicating are there. And for those of you that have taken the class, you've taken this class, I don't care if it's 2 years ago, and you're here today, or you get a notice from me, and it's going to offer you to take this class again for free. That's what it's going to do. You're going to get an opportunity to come in, take the class all over again, and refresh what you've heard before. And you just have to contact me to do that. That's all you have to do. Send me a notice. Just say to me, I want to do it. Now, it's not a group class anymore. It is a recorded webinar where you can go in, but I have to unlock it for you. So if you are here and you have taken the class, you want it again, you got to contact me. Now, the other thing is, if you've never taken the class, if you take that class within the next 7 days, the class is, listen, this thing is down from $450 down to $120, $119.99. Now, if you are the first time saying, I want that class, I finally decided I need more information, I need to know what you're talking about. If you do that in the next 7 days from this day right here, and I get a notice, you've never taken the class, you told me and I want to do it, you actually can get this class for $99. So you can get a $20 discount, $99. You can have part 1, part 2. It's a 3-hour class, 2 hours on one end, an hour on the other. But you can have the discount, and you need to do that within 7 days. 7 days from now, that offer is over, and it's well worth the $120, let alone $99. So contact me about that. So let's just do this. We're going to handle some things tonight, because one of the things that prompted us to have some real good dialogue over the last couple of weeks, a couple of different groups are struggling with some questions. Contacting people through their contact manager, buying leads. And some of the things that even the people that are practicing are struggling with are, what happens when you're speaking to that customer, to that prospect, and they're asking you, how long have you been here? And with the company, with your company, and are you making any money? Everybody wants to know that. That's the key thing. What do you want me to do, and how much are you going to pay me to do it? In other words, are you making money? Is it worth my time? And these things need to be answered properly. And there are people on this line now that know exactly how to handle those calls now without any fear, because their confidence level is so high now because they know who they are. And that's the next thing. The first thing you should learn is, who are you? And when you go to the class, you find out who you are when you make those phone calls. And I know it sounds silly, but the truth is you need to know who you are, meaning what position do you hold here with your own company? And you need to understand that. And to fully get that, you need this class. So it's important that you get down your dialogue. And again, you change. If you're struggling and you still don't know how to talk to people, or you're not having success talking to people, then you need to learn how to talk to them properly. So I'm just going to, Mark, turn this over to you. And here's really, I know we've not rehearsed any of this. Mark, what happened to you 2 years ago upon us, presenting the class to people? What was your position? What was going on with you in your career? And what's happened since then? And then we're going to talk about some questions and so on.
Well, 2 years ago, I'm getting that echo a little bit too, Joe.
Let me go on mute and we'll see if that handles anything. Let me know. I'll mute my mic.
Okay. A couple years ago, like a lot of us, I was doing the same thing that we've been taught to do for years and years. And a good part of the time, at least with me, it was working. But once I took this class, and it was like, wow, I thought I knew what I was doing. But when I took the class, it was like a whole new world opened up, because it was easier to talk to people. And it was, when we talk about terminology, and perception, it has to make sense, because based on the terminology that you use, it gives people the perception as to who you are, and what you're doing and what you're trying to do to them. So when I really got into it, and then it became like a part of me, it became the way that I talk. And the greatest thing that I love about it is that I talk the same way out when I'm out in public talking to people, or maybe even calling on a business or whatever. The same terminology and perception that was learned in this class makes it so much more easier. But the other thing too is that it's fun, because it's just a whole different language that I was accustomed to. And it's like a whole different world out there, because you know what you're doing and you have the confidence to do it. So that's what I love about it, because I'm a person that believes that whatever you do, you want to be having fun. If you don't have fun and enjoy it, why do it? I mean, you can even have the money, but if it's some people are so frustrated making money the way that they're doing it, they still not enjoying it. So again, the bottom line is this, that if you get this communication class and you really make it a part of you, and it gets in you, it's like a spiritual thing. It's inside you. What's inside you is what's going to come out. And again, you don't have to be on the phone for 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, trying to convince somebody to come with your company. If you do the class, take the class, do it right, study, like a number of people on the call, from what I understand, with their group have done, you will see the difference in your business, and you will see the difference in how you enjoy doing it or not. And the other thing is that some of you may have the opportunity to teach your upline the same thing that you're learning, because if they don't know how to do a three-way for you, then that's not good for you or your business. But if you've got partners like a lot of people have here to do that, then you don't have to worry about it, because you can have them do a three-way with you and feel confident and know that it's going to be done right. So Joe, that's the great thing about this. It just changes your whole world of doing business. So that's something to everybody needs to think about, and you want to be able to, you want to graduate from a director in training, to being a director and a person that can do a three-way. So that's very important.
Mark, I know this is a little ahead of ourselves, but let me just say this, and you can comment on it. In the last 6 months or so, Mark prefers being out in the public when talking and finding people, because he's looking for business people. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they think they're looking for everybody that'll say yes. And the truth is, we're just looking for people who are interested in managing a business from home. That's the first step. Without that, you don't have a prospect. You have a suspect, not a prospect. And you have to find out, is that person really interested in managing or learning how to manage a business from home. If they have no interest, I don't care what you tell them, they're not going to come aboard. And if you think you're going to go sell your product to those people, you're sadly mistaken. Now, a handful maybe, but you can't build a business in this arena by just running out looking for customers to buy your product. I know that people would like us to have hundreds and hundreds of customers, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way when you knocking on doors looking for people who want to buy the product. What you want are people who, yes, want to buy the product, but you want them to help move it as well, because that's the only way you're getting paid. Product and service has to move from manufacturer to consumer in order to get paid. And if it happens in an organization that you built, you certainly get a piece of the pie. It's only logic. It's referral money is really what it is. So Mark likes to go out, and due to the fact that he now, not just now, but I mean over the years, has really, like he said, understood what his stance is, he's able to walk into a company and talk logically, professionally to the person in charge and get an appointment, give them some information. So Mark, I mean, this is a little off the beat here, I think, a little bit, or not ahead of ourselves, not off the beat, it's ahead of ourselves. But when you walk into somebody's office now, now you've had some accountants over the last couple of weeks and business people. Tell us what you say to them and how you conduct yourself.
It's really simple and it's really fun. And another thing, like you said, Joe, I would prefer quality as opposed to quantity, and which means I'm not interested in a whole bunch of people, but I'm interested in a number of people that really want to have a successful business from home and are willing to do what I do, and we can work together. So, because at the end, it's the quality that's going to bring you the quantity. And that's why I look for a certain type of people, and I'm not in a great hurry. So I walk into an office, like I walk into a financial services office, for example. And why financial services office? Because they're in the finance business, so to speak, and a lot of them sometimes have a number of clients already. And they do need another stream of income, but they need the right product, and we have that product. So I walk in and I'll find out who the owner is or who the lead person is or whatever. And I'll say, well, Joe, my name is Mark Stevens, and I'd like to ask you a question. And the question is simply this: if I can show you a way to benefit from the greatest transfer of wealth ever known to mankind, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to be a part of it and benefit from it, and possibly your clients benefiting from it? Now, notice I didn't say that, would you? I said, is there any reason why you wouldn't? Which is a better way to put it. And so the question is, they'll say, well, what is it? And then from there, I'll say, well, my company is in a major expansion, and we're looking for people and companies who are interested in having a successful business working from home. And I'll ask that person, doesn't matter how big they are or whatever like that, have you ever had a successful business working from home? So you might want to say, well, Mark, why would you ask a person like that who has a business and they're in an office building or whatever, would they want to have a successful business from home? Well, guess what? Some of them have wives that are home, that are at home and would like to make some extra money. Some of them have children in college that might like to make some extra money. So in other words, it's covering all the areas. And that's why I asked them that question. And believe it or not, even though, some of them have some tax advantages, there's more tax advantages they can have by having a business from home as well. Because of this, if they're in the office and they have a spouse at home and they file their taxes, guess what? They file a joint return, then they can use Schedule C and they can reduce their taxes and increase their income and the benefits that they have. So that's basically the way that I do it. And it gets a lot of attention. Now, I'll share this with you so we can move on. Recently, in the last few weeks, I've been contacting a lot of tax and CPAs, but I forgot that this was tax season coming up. So what I have done actually is I still have gone in to a number of them, and what I did was simply this. So I realize this is your season where you do your most business. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do that. But what I'm going to do is from time to time, from now till April 15th, I'm going to send you a little information, and I'll stay in touch with you. And then after April 15th, we'll go ahead and get you started. Now, they didn't say where they're going to start or not, but I said we're going to go ahead and get you started. Because guess what? This is their greatest time doing business for the year. And then after that, it kind of tails off unless they have businesses that they do bookkeeping for, things like that. But Joe, that's how I do it with the financial people. Now, if I'm just walking around and I'm talking to people, the shopping center, I maybe going to a coffee shop or whatever like that, you see people with computers in there, you know, like a Starbucks. And I'll see somebody sitting there and, you know, for a while and nobody's saying anything to them or whatever. I will go and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Mark Stevens, and you are. And you know, if I haven't startled them or whatever, they'll say, hi, how you doing? And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you know, I asked them, do you live around here? Oh, well, yeah, I just, you know, I live a few blocks from here. Okay, well, you know, I live a few blocks from here as well. But let me ask you something. I see you here with your computer and everything like that, and you see I have mine. I said, you know, I work for a company that has a major expansion going on, and we're looking for people who are honest, ambitious, and work well with others, and would like to have a successful business working from home. Have you ever had a successful business working from home? Well, no, not really. I'm just here with my computer, whatever. Well, what I'd like to do, I'd like to get your contact information and send you some information. Then I'll give you a call and see on a scale of 1 to 10 what your level of interest is. Is that fair enough? Well, yeah, you know. And if they have a business card, I ask for a business card, and I'll give them my business card. But my business card doesn't say Carrot Bars, but I give them a business card. So those are a couple of the ways that I do it, Joe, and it works. And the thing is, that's how you can get quality people, as opposed to a quantity of people who don't do anything.
Well, you know, Mark, obviously you can hear the comfort level, and that only comes from experience. It comes from knowledge. It comes from learning, training, studying, hearing it over and over again. I remember a time when you were listening to the adtechworldwide.net website over and over and over again, which our language is in there as well. It's everywhere. And now it's everywhere with a lot of people. So one of the things, Mark, I can't do, I don't know why I can't. Can you go to the control room now for me?
Okay, hold on a second.
And
Okay,
my screen, since I'm using a very, very large screen, is somehow I'm not able to go to someone. You know, sometimes it asks to here it is. Never mind. Well, no, it's only on the people that are talking. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if we can invite as a speaker. There you go. See, if you type in, okay, Cindy, Cindy Valentine. I'm gonna unlock you. I know you're getting nervous right now, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm going to invite you as a speaker. I don't know what happens on your end. I think you have to agree to it, and then all of a sudden, you are a speaker. So I want to talk to you while we're on here. I want people to hear a couple of things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you, and let's see what happens. All right, and there it goes. Return as attendee. Okay, so now you should have gotten a notice, Cindy. And Robert, I think that's Robert. I'm not sure. Robert, can you type in there? Is that Robert Lavrivier? I don't know if that's you or not, but I wanted to unlock that for you. Oh, there's two Roberts on there. Somebody says no sound. You have to probably have to come in and back in again. There you go. That's me. All right, good. I'm gonna also invite you as a speaker on this. So both of you have the ability to see something on your end that says you're invited. You click it on and you'll be able to talk. If you're having a problem with that, type in over there and I'll see what it is. But you should be able to do that. Let me know what's going on. I think I hear something. But let's just go back here. Let's take the basics here. Let's just take a look at your business. You open a business. You have a networking business going on. And so you start, I mean, there's a foundation here. There is a pattern to everything you do in business. It should be. There's a routine that you go through. And first, you should register with your company. You should have a marketing tool that you need, whether your company provide one or you use ToolsRock, those two things. And then, in our opinion, you should take the class so that you get what it is that you're supposed to be doing, so that you can sound like Mark Stevens, so you can answer questions. But what's going to happen in the process is you're going to have to contact your person, the prospect, someone that's interested. And you're going to have to go through a routine. What is it that you do? I mean, that's a real question. What is it that you do when you make that call? Are you following a pattern? Are you really doing something that makes sense? Are you presenting yourself professionally so that the prospect says, this is somebody I want to keep talking to? If you're winging it and stumbling and going, and if they're saying, well, how long have you been with the company? Because everybody knows when you're making a phone call in this industry, everybody knows that it's a networking company, some kind of MLM, and now they want to have some, they want to have some answers here. And if you're not confident, if you don't portray that confidence, they're not following you. Because people don't follow people, they follow courage. They follow the confidence in you. They will follow you if you have confidence and you know what you're doing. The question is, what are you doing? That's what this class teaches. What are you doing? Are you calling up pretending to be the person in charge and knowing everything if you've only been here 2 weeks? That doesn't make any sense. So you've got to understand that there are questions that arise. There's a pattern. The introduction, the reason that you called the person should be in your dialogue. There's a series of things that you go through. The pattern is introduction, here's who I am, here's the reason I called, here's what I would like you to do, and I'm going to make an appointment, and then we'll follow up and see if we're on the same page. We'll tie that down at the end, the appointment. Every phone call you make has to be an appointment setter. Or if they've already seen something because you put somebody in a autoresponder or some type of message and they clicked it on, filled out some information, and now you're talking to them, then there isn't an appointment to set. What it is you move them to a director, which is, again, another set of language, a pattern to follow, and the director has to know how to conduct themselves on that call. I don't want anybody on that other side trying to convince my prospect that this is the greatest thing they should be understanding. You got to fix your retirement. All this stuff that goes on, who are you to tell another person who you don't even know who they are, whether they understand retirement or what their situation is, that what they should be doing? That's just what everybody is trying to tell people. You should be taking these right. You should be, getting gold. You should be in precious metals. You should be, in the law business. Well, why should I be? Because you said so? The attitude's wrong. I mean, you've got to be searching for someone and finding out, are they really a match? Preliminary things. So let's just see. I lost the page. Robert, did you able to unlock your microphone?
Yep.
Oh, good. How are you?
Hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you. So,
Wonderful.
Robert, I know you've been teaching here at the Breakfast Club for the last couple of weeks, the mindset of what's going on. Well, first of all, we go back to this process. I saw something the other day that, you talked about a routine and getting up and going through the pattern that you should be going through. And then it's practice, learn your skills, practice with somebody else, get a team. So that's why we put teams of people together in the class, to make sure that they are working together. I wish I could get Cindy open up here. I'm going to see if I can get somebody else open up here. But Robert, what was your experience? Look, this is an author. This is a guy with over 50,000 people in his group, in his company. This is a guy who has been a public speaker and an educator, teaching people how to be successful, how to create the right mindset to have a successful business, which is why we've connected to each other, to make sure that we bring those elements together. But here's a guy with all this experience and says, I want to take your class. After taking the class, we've exchanged information, and we realize we're really on the same page. So, I mean, just while I go, I'm going to look up something here. But Robert, why don't you give us what your take was on the class and why you took it and what's happening? Where are we together on this?
Well, if you don't have a system, a routine, basically it makes the job so difficult. You can't basically shoot from the hip all the time, and you gotta practice, and you gotta basically write things down. A lot of people, they don't write down. They don't have an action plan. They don't have what I call a performance report, which is very important. Basically, what's your objective for Monday? How many people you want to talk to on Monday? 2, 3, 5? And at the end of the day, what's the result? How many interviews came out of that? How many appointments or sales that came out of that? Then you do the same thing for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and at the end of the week, well, you know exactly how many people and what mistakes. Now you're able to find out where you're weak and where you're strong. And it's like sports. You go in golf. People say, well, I'll practice what I'm weak in. No, you got to practice what you're good at, and then get somebody else which is good at something else to help you do the other thing, and you work as a team. This is, I made so many mistakes. I'm not a young fellow, and my birthday is this next month in February, and I'm going to be hitting the 6'9" figure. But I made so many mistakes when I was young because, you don't listen. But now I listen, and I write everything down. That's why I wrote so many books. I wrote my mistakes and how to fix it. And you know what? You teach in life what you need to learn.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I'm still learning today. That's why I followed your class, because your class writes it, gives a system, gives a way to answer intelligently to people and introduce yourself as a professional without bragging or what have you and saying, look, I'm in training. I'm a director in training. So now people will not abuse on you. And when you make that the connection with the three-way call, now they're talking to the directors. There's a respect that comes to that. Now, if you're a director and you're acting on that, you have to act that way and basically do the job. There's a job that has to be done. There's a performance that has to be done. You have to ask the right questions and get the right feel of these people, because time is money. Time, there's the only asset that we have that is our richest is time. Yeah, at my age, you could, I don't have 100 years in front of me, but I have to make it happen today, not tomorrow. Today. Yesterday is gone. Yesterday is only a memory. Tomorrow is a hope. And today you got to do it. And this is what, as a younger person, sometimes is difficult for us to do, because we don't understand that gap here of yesterday and tomorrow. Oh, we've got the time. Let's go and have a drink. Let's go party. Let's do this. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll give 100% tomorrow. You can't give more than 100%. 110% doesn't work. You see, it works with money. You could lose money and you could gain that money back. But when you lose time, you can't get it back. There's no way. You can't put that clock back. It doesn't work. So this is what I love in your training. It's simple. It's right to the point. It's not BS, basically. And what do people say? Answer to that. Well, we'll follow. Yes, you'll get a lot of people say no. And great. You don't want those people. You want only the winners. A lot of people get upset. They say, well, I talked to 7 people and everyone said no. Great. They're not the people. They're meant to work with you. So next, when you take a talk at the 9th one or the 10th one, that will be the person that will do the job, and then you'll work with that person and learn, and you'll get the other one, the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th. At first, when we're in this career, being entrepreneurs, we have maybe to work much harder in the beginning then at the end, when basically we know so many things and now we know all the tricks. You know, the old saying is, if youth would know, and if people that have the age could. So you got to stay fit to be able to do things. So that's what I take of your training. That's why I think we click together, and what I do and what I teach to people, and basically I basically am teaching what I learned and I experienced, and this is the only thing we're able to do is teach others basically what we live, what we experience, because it comes from our cells, our soul, and everything. And we have, life is fun when we make it fun, when we decide it's fun. And I don't know any other enterprise or business or way of life or lifestyle than being an entrepreneur, because you're your own boss. We also have to take responsibility also of our weaknesses, but we got to work on that to perfect. We can't be perfect. Perfection is not there. So that's why I always wear a pin that says excellent. I'm better than yesterday. Tomorrow I'll be better than today. But today I'm the best I can be. That's the only way we have to think.
I think Mark. I love when Mark comes on all the time. He's fantastic, and I say that to people outside now, and they all smile when I don't care if I'm in a supermarket. They say, "Hey, how you doing?" I respond with, "Hey, I'm fantastic and amazing. You know what? I'm heading towards phenomenal." And they just smile and say, "Well, glad somebody is. I'm having." I go, you need to change your attitude. So I'm excited about that. I have Mary. Mary, did you open up your mic? I sent you an invite to talk on there. You responded, and I'm looking for you. Where are you? Mary. Think I heard you. Can't hear you. Okay.
I thought I heard something faintly.
I did too. I heard something. Mary, talk to us. Huh. All right, I'm going to try this now. Let me see if this works again. I'm going to invite again. Mary, I'm going to try it again. Try that. I'm going to try another one too. Let's try that. All right, look. Let me just go back over this thing again with starting your business. You start that business, you've got to prepare yourself. You've got to go in and work at it. It's not going to happen by accident. Statistics show that. So what happens, like write down to yourself now, what happens if someone does say to you, while you've met them, you've talked to them, maybe you've sent them an email and they responded and you call them up, what is it that you do? What is your pattern? So when you start talking and asking questions, I mean, I'm talking about you haven't had the class, but you're sitting here and you're saying, so, you're asking them, telling them you send something and they responded, whatever your dialogue is, and they say to you, well, what does your company really do? How are you responding to that? I mean, do you have a logical answer that makes sense? The terminology that you create or that you use is going to create a perception. And if you fumble, they're not going to believe in you or trust you if you can't even explain your company. Do you have a pattern down of what to say? And when they go, well, look, I've been through this before, and am I really going to make any money? How do you respond to that? I mean, if you don't have an entire pattern of things, this is how this class was developed over years and years of listening to the best of the best, and then writing the pattern out. But how do you respond to that? What if somebody said to you, tell me more about your company? What do you do? Do you know about the process of assuming and having no gaps? Do you know how to do that? Can you jump in when somebody, maybe you're just ready to register them, or they've just, getting ready to see the director, and they say to you, look, I don't want to talk to anybody else. I want to ask you some more questions. How do you do that? What happens to you? Do you freeze? and then say nothing or fumble through it. I know that happens to many people. I know that. That's why this class was developed, to help you through that. To be able to respond to, in a logical way, sure, the name, and there's a pattern to this. The name of my company is, so you name the company. We've been around for so long, so there's part 2, how long you've been around for. We are in X amount of countries, number 3. Number 4 is the company is in this particular field. In other words, it could be nutrition, could be precious metals, could be legal field, depends on what company you're with. But even though the company is in the nutritional field, what we do is this, or what I'm looking for is this. We don't want them to be in the nutritional field. They might have been a nurse, a plumber, or a doctor, or a lawyer, an accountant, a carpenter. You say, tell them the company's in the nutritional field, and they're going, wow, I know nothing about nutrition. You're not looking for that. I mean, it'd be nice if somebody was in nutrition and looking for a nutritional company. Hey, dream come true, right? But if you're asking, you're telling them that the company is in the nutritional field, but what we're looking for really is someone who wants to learn how to manage a business from home with our company. You know, drugstores have many different employees that wear different hats. Just because you said, we have a drugstore, doesn't mean you're going to be the druggist. It doesn't mean you're going to be the receptionist, the cashier, or the person behind the counter. It doesn't mean that. It means what they're going to do is bring you in and teach you how to run that whole facility. Same thing with McDonald's. Second, if you're looking for someone, maybe you're looking for a manager. I don't know. But if you're looking for a manager and you tell them, yes, we have job openings here at McDonald's, you'd certainly want to know what the job was, because maybe you're not interested in being the cashier or the cook or the cleanup person. Maybe you want it to be the manager. Well, that's not available. You have to identify what is so. And what is so here in our industry is what we're looking for. Although in the nutritional field, in the precious metals field, what we're really looking for, foundational stuff, is are you interested in managing or learning how to manage a successful business from home? If so, I can show you how that goes in our company, and let's see if we have a match. We may have a match. Maybe we don't. But let's look at it from that angle. First, I'll get you the information. We'll get back together. We'll see if we're on the same page. And maybe we can take another step from there. Fair enough? And that's how that conversation should be going in a cold market. Somehow I'm getting an echo. So look, if you learn anything in this business, is that who are you? What are you really looking for? And truthfully, if you're looking for anything other than people that want to manage a business from home, you've got problems, because you're talking to the wrong people. And then getting there and talking to them, having the right language, being able to answer the question of where you got my name and are you making money. I mean, what would you say if they said, are you making any money? Do you fumble and go, well, not really, but we're going to make it. I'm really trying. I want you to come in and make money so I can make money. I mean, that would be the impression, I guess. So these are things that are very, very important. And without getting the answers to these questions, I'm just going to answer one of those for you. If somebody said, are you making money here, the first thing out of your mouth has to be, sure, that's not a problem. Let me handle that for you. As a matter of fact, I've been with the company. Now, it depends on how long you've been with the company. Let's say you've been 4 months and you're not making money. I've been with the company about 4 months now. I'm actually in management training. I'm learning how to have a successful business from home. My job right now is to schedule appointments for our directors. So, Bob, would Thursday be good or would Friday be better? Or, Bob, have you ever had a successful business from home? Or, Tom, or Mary, are you open to learning how to have a successful business from home? Just because they ask a question doesn't mean that you have to be so direct that you tell them what your check was last week. It's not appropriate. And you can't say, well, we're not allowed to say that. That doesn't say, that doesn't, give confidence. It just sounds like you're avoiding it. But the answer is very clear. Sure, that's not a problem. I can handle that for you. As a matter of fact, here's the pattern. I've been with the company this long. My job is to do this, get you over to the director, get you the people who can answer your questions. So would today be good at 3 o'clock or would 4 o'clock be better? No gaps, assume. See, when you learn these techniques, this conversation becomes so easy. I guarantee you, Mark, Robert, different people you look at, they don't have a problem with these conversations because they know the patterns. And they know how to, and then they know, as the dialogue moves on, whether or not they're going to even excuse that person. And again, how do you get rid of a person on the phone who's either A, not following you, not following direction, giving you a hard time? How do you do it? These are things that have just been assumed over the years that we should be able to handle without any direction or any learning. So that's what I have to say here tonight, and we're going to be here every Wednesday night. I'm trying to open up these mics. We're going to find out a better way to do this. I see that Mary's on an iPad and can't do it. But what we need to do is we need to be able to communicate here. So we'll figure out next week how to get these mics open. Obviously, they can be open because Robert was just like everyone else and just opened the mic. Robert, what was the process when I unlocked that? What happened? Out next week how to get these mics open. Obviously, they can be open because Robert was just like everyone else and just opened the mic. Robert, what was the process?
I don't know. It just worked.
All right, no problem.
You want me to lie or you want me to tell you the truth?
That's the truth. I don't know. It just got a mark and you opened it up. It's all right.
It just worked.
All right, no problem. Somebody turn off their speaker on there. We hear the replay. I don't know. It just got a mark and you opened it up. Right there. See? Somebody stopped their microphone. Somebody turn off their speaker on there. We hear the replay. I don't know. It just got a mark right there. There you go. I stopped it. All right. Now, so Mark, I just look. People, the reason for this is I want to open up the call and people ask questions. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the question and answer box and go ahead and do that. In the meantime, we're going to be here every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. The link that you have is the link that will be sent. You're going to get that an hour before the call, 5 minutes before the call, and then you'll get the replay. And we'll have the replay. I said before we wouldn't, but it looks like we're going to do the replay on here most of the time. But we're going to promote people getting educated, which is exactly what the Breakfast Club has always been about. So with that, Mark, I don't know if you want to, if you're there with us.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
One thing that we all should understand is that we're not really selling anything. Basically, what we're doing, we're teaching and we're coaching people how to have a successful business working from home. That's what it's all about. We're not, people don't like to be sold, but they do like to be educated, and it's about thinking, and that's what the class teaches you: how to think, how to talk, how to say the right things, how to ask the right questions. And remember, QAQ, every time you give somebody an answer, you want to ask a question after that answer. That way you maintain control of the conversation. So that's what I'd like to add to that, Joe.
All right, well, I just unlocked somebody else's mic. Can you hear me, Wally? I unlocked it. You requested it. I unlocked it. Somehow we're going to have to follow this and find out why people aren't able to do it. Robert did it right away, so I know it can be done immediately. So there must be a notice that comes up that says you've just been invited as a speaker. You have to click something on, and there you go. So Wally, we'll give you another 10 seconds. But look, this is going to be the same theme over and over again. Education, education, education. Learn how to do it. It's obvious that the methods that are taught, go out and just tell everybody you know, don't work. They work for some people. They work when you have large groups that'll follow you, and then, But do you really know how to take a prospect and move them forward? I have seen so many disasters taking people to three-way calls over the last 15 or 20 years. You know, people that said they knew what they were doing, and they get on and they rattle on and on and on without finding out whether the prospect's really for real. And it doesn't take, a big conversation with them. It takes a couple of things, asking them a couple of questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? If the next 5 years look like the last 5, are you getting ahead or behind? And that tells you something. That opens up the dialogue for them, for the director, for the prospect, to have that dialogue to find out what they're really thinking. And then the final question is, it's like, oh, do you want to move forward? Here's how you say that. With a little bit of training, a lot of support from us. Can you see yourself learning what it takes to be successful managing a business from home? That says I'm willing to go forward. If they say, yes, I think I can, then we'll get you registered. So that's, and again, you learn that in the class, the exact dialogue, exactly how to move them over there. And that's the responsibility of a director, not to find out what their family life has been for 20 years. Nobody cares about that right now until you bond and you figure it out. But I suggest that you team up and you learn the process. So with that, Wally, I don't know, you're unlocked, but I guess you're not there. So I put you back. All right. Well, everybody have a great night. Thanks for being here. Robert, thanks for your input. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Robert's going to come in along with some of this dialogue. We're going to share some screens. We're going to do some mindset thinking and learning next week. So get together with your teams, work hard, and we'll see you next week at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the evening session of the Breakfast Club. Have a great night, everybody.
Peace and blessings, everyone.
Have a great night, Mark. Thanks for being here as always.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.